There it goes. Hi, everyone. This is Dr. David Weinthal, and I am here once again with you on another video here at Hippocrates Health Institute. Once again, just finishing up my life transformational program here. It's been 3 long weeks, and I can't tell you how ecstatic I've been about learning about raw foods and living in a high vibrational way here at Hippocrates Health Institute. I have the opportunity to be here with Chef Ken Blue, who is an amazing individual, and how he prepares the food and the people that work underneath him. He transmits the healing energy into the food and with everything that they make here at Hippocrates. And I think it's an amazing part of what the healing aspect is here at Hippocrates. And so I invited him to have conversation with me so that we can talk a little bit about what it entails in preparing the foods and teaching us, the guests, about what it takes to go back home and prepare raw and living foods. So welcome, Chef Ken. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with me and to talk to the people that I'm going to be presenting to my list about raw and living foods. That's the Hippocrates way.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so Chef Ken, what is it? What do you guys think about when each day that you guys are there preparing the food, and what is like the feeling, the energy that you and your crew take on each day to in essence put together these wonderful buffets that we have here?
Well, first I'll say that my main goal, and I think most of it in the kitchen, is empowering people.
Right.
They can do this at home and to return to your natural state of health if you're not already there, and if you are, just becoming even more vibrant and alive, and trying to make it simple. As I said, empowering, not saying, wow, look at all the stuff I can do and we can do, and maybe you can't even do this. No, it's people say they really love a dish. I say it's simple. You can do that at home. And that's really what I focus on as I'm making the food. I think about people saying, wow, I can live this way. I can do this. This I can really get into. And it's a big change for a lot of people. Of course, also keeping us grounded and understanding that our biggest thing, what we're making in the kitchen, we call side dishes.
Right.
We're not calling them entrees. Doing the wheatgrass, doing the green juice, you feel the energy from that. I think the clearest and easiest. We tell people the sprouts should be 50% of your plate.
Absolutely.
What is that? That's, we have 10, 12 kinds of sprouts on the buffet, which is great. And then all these different organic vegetables. And then I don't even want people to say, wow, I had this much of what you made, and that's your whole plate.
Right.
It's that little piece. But if that brings a spark and some enthusiasm to what they're doing, and so we're putting that love and that energy into the food.
Absolutely. And as we know that 50% of the sprouts, 50% of the plate should be the sprouts. And the reason why that is because almost 90% to 100% of the protein aspect that we're taking in, that's healing our bodies with the complete amino acids from the sprouts, that's really the building blocks of how our body is healing. And so the tenet of the Hippocrates way is healing and doing it in, like you said, in a nice simplistic way by taking in the proteins. And, a lot of times what I hear from my patients and people that are talking to me about being a raw vegan is that, where do you get your protein? And I'm like, are you kidding me? There's so much bioavailability in taking in proteins from sprouts and greens and from our green juices that, we should be able to live and accept that healing way without having to resort to animal products or anything else.
And people are so over caught up in how much protein they need. It really should not be a huge part of your diet. And as you said, the bioavailability, the ease of digestion, and what's it come down to really, as you know, is the energy.
Absolutely.
It's the energy that you're getting from that food with the least amount of effort and energy to digest it. So your body can take all of that focus and say, boom, this is toward clearing the body and fueling the cells. And just that, it's really such a big part of it.
What I noticed, being in the trenches, like I so to speak here, and being a guest here, we're in Ann Wigmore Hall, which is the main meeting area and the kitchen and the dining room area, and sitting with the people during eating their meals. On week 1, people are taking huge plates of food, and they're going up for seconds, and they're getting it in, they're getting it down. They may not be totally into it yet, but what's happening is over the course of that week, their plates are shrinking a little bit, and they're like, after like 2-3 weeks, we're like, wow, I can even eat a second meal. And what's happening is the body is accepting all of that nutrition, and you're not having to eat as much, and they're transitioning from eating all the crap that they ate prior to coming here, and they're really starting to see the nutrient value of what the food is really giving them.
Yeah, I think that's two things. One is people eat and want this heavy weigh down feeling in the stomach.
Right.
It took me a while to get past that. I would finish a meal and say, I'm not full. I
Right.
don't feel full. And I'd try to eat nuts or nut butters or avocados, say, I need this, and then you start eating and saying, no, I can still have this great energy and move around and not have to be all weighed down. Also, the other part is we become so much more efficient at digesting these foods this way.
Right.
And so I think most people, I'm amazed that people can eat that much, because now, and I was, at first, I was eating a plate like that and losing weight.
Right.
Because and I didn't want to lose weight, but my body just struggled to really get all that fiber and absorb everything. And now I'm eating these little tiny plates, and I don't have to worry about losing weight anymore at all. My weight's stabilized out.
That's the whole point that most people don't realize, is once the body gets to its optimal level, its optimal efficiency with how much energy you're putting out versus the amount of energy the food you're taking in, you start to level off. You don't, the body knows exactly what's right for you at any given time. And I know that there's a couple of my friends that are still here that they are still losing a little bit. And I'm like, that's okay. The body hasn't normalized yet. It hasn't gotten rid of the fat and all the toxins that you're releasing here while we're going through these detoxification of the 3 weeks.
Right. So the cleansing is going quicker than the rebuilding is able to happen. And then that starts to balance out, and we can stabilize. And people, I had to gain the weight back on, so I did that. And people said, you can't do it. You're not gonna be able to put on muscle eating this way. Of course you can.
Absolutely. In fact, there's a lot of vegan bodybuilders that are out there, and I was just talking to Brian Clement about that. And if you want it, you can have it. And one of the strongest things that that they stress here is not only that you're eating healthy, but you're exercising. Not only are you exercising, but you're lifting weights, you're stretching, and you're doing some type of cardio aerobic exercise. And that's really the strong part of it, because most of us don't do all of those different types of exercise in a daily or a weekly routine. And that's the big part that they're building up here. It's not just the food education, it's the exercise, it's the sunshine, it's the wheatgrass. It's a whole combination to make this healing aspect and this healing community happen.
Yeah, it's the whole lifestyle. That's why I say lifestyle. It's not just diet. Diet seems restrictive to people.
So I got a question for you. I know that you were telling us, I know you're doing these mini little raw food classes in the days that the guests are here, and then you talked about that you get phone calls and you get questions on the Facebook, and you get different questions. What type of questions do the guests give you when they leave and then they start asking for questions? What kind of things are they asking?
We get all types of questions.
Because this is the really important part,
You have people who are trying maybe the recipes, somebody making their own sauerkraut.
Right.
Because you can make your own sauerkraut and save so much money and get
Absolutely.
probiotics naturally, versus buying the jars, or people are doing it and they charge quite a bit of money. So people are saying, this isn't turning out, I'm doing this, and why is that not working? Some simple questions like they want to do their own nut milk, and something, they're not sure. Some can be just people who never even came here.
Well,
Up and ask very just off the wall questions. And one person was a reporter and said, let me get this straight. You can just eat vegetables and be healthy. And I was like, is this a joke? Are you serious? And he's like, no, I'm writing for this newspaper. And so we'll get questions, complete range of questions.
Wow.
And someone else was making a dish and he said, I'm getting to this point. Here's what's happening. Where do I go from here? So it can be very, very wide variety.
A wide variety of different types of questions. Okay, well, great. you know, one thing I'd stress is making your own nut milks and your nut milk kefirs. The probiotics are such an important thing, not just to take as a pill or a supplement, but also to get it in food source. And you mentioned sauerkraut. It's one of the things that I teach first thing to my patients, because, you know, we take a pill that's a probiotic. There's about 15 different types of strands of bacteria that are inside any average probiotic. On the head of a cabbage, I don't know if you know this, there's over 300 different strands of bacteria, and that's what makes it so important.
Yeah.
And to culture your own bacteria, and the whole entire thing, the new education is in your internal microbiome, and healing you are the sum of your bacteria. And we're always fighting good bacteria to bad bacteria, and hopefully you're making that progress to moving towards having really good, healthy bacteria.
And for me, kimchi, I love kimchi.
Kimchi.
So
why do you love kimchi?
Because the spice. I like that little added spice. And
Okay.
just to me, it's just more flavor and zip, and I just love that. And it's great to start your meals with that, really.
Absolutely.
It's traditionally done.
Absolutely.
So you see so many different people doing that, and it's natural.
And the
It
whole
is
thing
what's
is
natural.
that you don't need to eat a lot of it. I mean, I tell my patients, just start with a tablespoon a day. A tablespoon is enough to get your palate, because you have to get past the sour taste.
Yeah.
And in Chinese medicine, we talk about sour leads to the liver, and healing of the liver is constantly needing its ability to do its healing process. And so every time you're eating something and the taste stimulates the qi flow to that organ. And so every time you're eating the sour flavor, you're stimulating the qi of the liver to start to move and energy and flow throughout the body so that the healing can happen.
We want to get, and then people sometimes talked about the spleen becoming deficient eating raw food, and it said, well, we're not eating tons of raw broccoli and raw cabbage, but the sprouts, you can get all those benefits of broccoli and cabbage and all these things doing the sprouts from these. It's a great way of getting all that and like 30 times more nutrition.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the other things that you can give to those individuals that are talking about having a lack of fire in their belly is that we can do ginger to help to warm the body and
the turmeric. Did you try the fresh turmeric?
Absolutely. In fact, what I do is I do ginger turmeric shots
That's
in the
quite
wintertime.
warming,
And
quite
it's
warming.
like, boom. And
Yeah.
especially if you're doing any type of juicing in the wintertime. And being in Texas, it gets quite cold. It gets a little chilly here in Florida sometimes.
Yeah, chili for us is like 40 degrees. Like, oh, it's freezing. People say it's freezing.
I know, but you know, I tell you, try one of those ginger turmeric
that
shots. I
warms
mean,
you up,
that'll
yeah.
really shoot you up, and it really internalize that internal alchemy of energy and warmth inside your body. So
Yeah.
if anyone is really struggling with cold limbs in the body or something,
That's
give them
what
a
people
little
complain
turmeric
is,
shot.
it's, how am I going to do this? You can do it in Florida, but how am I going to do it where it gets cold? And
You can absolutely
warm
do
from
it.
the inside, and it's just as effective. Or you can warm things in dehydrators, and we talk to
Absolutely.
people a little bit about, and we do some more, snack kinds of things. But if you're doing your juices, you're already getting in so many meals through the day, just in a simple to digest way, because we're doing green juice twice,
Right.
the wheatgrass twice. Those are really meals.
Absolutely.
Form, and not weighing down your body. Big thing also that we do here is taking away sugar. I mean, it's
Sugar
okay to
is
do
the-
fruit limited, but if you're healthy, but
Basically, we have sugar once a week. We have fruits.
right, we got the Thursday, Sunday.
Oh, right. You have when we have Thursday morning we
Thursday
have
morning
fruit, and then Saturday night we have the ice cream.
right, and then Sunday morning you get fruit.
Sunday morning
So
we
if
have
you're
fruit.
more than a week.
Right. If you're here more than a week, get it twice a week.
And you could say the melon soup on Wednesday.
That was
Fasting.
awesome. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and fasting and other. So we really also focus on limiting the sugars, fasting 1 day a week.
Right.
Right, that's a big thing for a lot of people. Think that they
Absolutely.
can't do it, but
They
such a
can.
healthy
It's
thing.
such a mental aspect.
It really is.
And once you start to do that and incorporate that in your regular lifestyle, that's where the true healing starts to happen. Because then when you start to have these urges to get something that's totally off the reservation as far as your health and wellness, you can just go into a healing mode and say, you know what, I'm listening to these voices. I need to fast.
Yeah.
And to really let those voices come up and dissipate.
Well, what helped me with that is someone told me as I went through the program as a guest also,
Right.
and I was having these cravings. They said, that's that item coming out of your body. Your body's cleansing that right now. That's why you're craving it right now. And I said, oh,
That's
like
a
that.
beautiful
Thank
way
you.
of speaking about that. And I'm
Yeah.
going to use that from
Yeah.
now on, because that's really important. Because you know what? most people are craving sugar and caffeine and are driven by those two things all the time.
Yeah.
And those are the things, and as we know, caffeine and sugar go up and shoot you down.
That's
why we're craving those things all the time.
Yeah, most of us are usually on that roller coaster. And,
Absolutely.
And then we just keep feeding that, and it's just saying clear, let things stabilize. I think they're doing the blue-green algae and the chlorella really.
Absolutely, because those are really intense proteins
Yeah.
that help to sustain the body. And that's what's really needed to balance the blood sugar. You need to have proteins that are helping to balance the blood sugar in your body.
And I think the other thing people should know about is food combining,
Yes.
which here we have to do everything, proper food combining. Maybe once in a while we go a little to a gray area, but like our indulgence, like Saturday when we have the dessert, the banana ice cream, kind of close to the meal,
Right.
or tahini, but not mixing the nuts and starches and not mixing fruits with meals and keeping all these things separate, eating simply. It's just a big aspect that is simple for people to do, I think.
Well, the most important thing is really that training. You know, there was a great sage, a yogi sage, his name's Yogi Bhajan, and what sticks in my mind about him is that he says it takes 21 days to create a new habit. And that's what the length of time the transformational program is 21 days. And so in 21 days, you can create a new paradigm for yourself. Does it mean that it's cemented in? No, but it's the beginning of a new paradigm for you. And anyone can do anything if you set your mind and your intention to make this happen.
And I always say to people, especially leaving here, it's great to do this 100%, never slip up. But the reality is, if you do, don't just say I couldn't do it and give up entirely. Do the best you can. And gradually those cravings, if you don't keep feeding them, those go away. Your tastes change. Just from like we don't have salt here. I first came as a chef, was like, you've handicapped me. I have no salt to work with, no vinegar. I mean, that's like such things for flavor, but
Absolutely.
Everyone's palate becomes much more sensitive. And for me in the kitchen, sometimes I have to make things a little stronger than I would like.
Right.
Because my taste buds have become more sensitive. I purposely don't do like the garlic juice.
Right.
Or those things, because I know then I'll have a high tolerance to things like garlic and things like that.
Well,
it's got a little drone going over us here.
Yeah, I know. Well, Ken, I just want to say thank you.
Sure.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me, and I really appreciate your knowledge and your passion for the food, and your intense love for the people that come through these doors for their healing. And I know the length of time that you work and your staff. I mean, I can't tell you how lovely your staff are. And they always greet you with a smile, and it comes from the leadership from the top up to the top down. And so I just want to say personally, thank you for making my stay here as wonderful as it has been. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you for doing my interview with me.
Sure.
All right, thank you everyone, and we'll see you very soon next time.
Okay.
All right, we're done.